Hey you guys, so I'm going to talk a little bit today about my experience with menopause. Um, and if it's going to gross anybody out, please don't watch then because um, it's very gross. So I've been going through menopause since I was 38. And I know a lot of people would say that, well, that's really young. You shouldn't be going through. Well, I can't tell my body not to go through menopause, so get over it. So since 38, and the first time I went, the doctor actually said the same thing. So she did some tests and tried to figure out what's going on with me. And they found out she was like, you're perimenopausal. So but she still did a mammogram, she did blood tests, all that kind of stuff, just to make sure that it wasn't something else going on in my body, and which was good. And then sorry, I'm worried that I'm looking cockeyed but if I do, whatever, I'm just telling you my story. But and I'm not going to edit this damn video, you can just watch the whole thing. I'm just going to give you the raw whatever's going on with me, okay? So last year I started bleeding again, and it was for 2 weeks, and it was horrible. So 2 or 3 weeks. So I went to the doctor again, and she's like, I think you're still going through it, so I'm gonna put you on progesterone, which is a hormone. She didn't really tell me what it does. She just said it helps with the bleeding. So it was right before I went to South Africa. So I took it was 3 months supply. So every 10 days or for 10 days, a month, you take the pills. And then 20 days later, you take the pills again for 10 days. And then that helps you with regulate your period or help with the bleeding. So went to South Africa, whatever, it was fine. I was bleeding a lot on the plane there. And then when I got up, I think I left like a stain in my seat because it was bleeding so much. I had to first go to the restroom, try and clean myself up, and then grab the rest of my bags. So anyways, this year went fine. You know, I was taking the pills all 3 months and I was fine. And then last month, or I didn't get my period for 3 months, and then last month it's weird. Last month I got a period for 3 days, and I was like, oh, this is really good. You know, after I didn't get it for 3 months, I got it for 3 days. It was awesome. And then 10 days or 12 days after that, I started a period again. First, I thought, oh, it was just because, you know, I picked up a lot of boxes at work. So heavy boxes that week or that Sunday. And then the Sunday night, I started bleeding. So it was just light. So it didn't really bother me. And then by the Monday, the Tuesday came, and I was bleeding heavily, like very heavy. And I thought, oh my God, I'm dying. I hurt something inside my body because I was like picking up these boxes. And then I just kept bleeding. I bought tampons. I had like the Ultra that I usually use. And I went to Walmart and they didn't have the Ultra anymore. They only had the Super Plus. Now the Ultra is the biggest one you can find. It's like bigger than the Super Plus. It's like there's the regular, the Plus, Super Plus, and then the Ultra. And they didn't have it. So I had to buy the Super Plus. And I kept checking and they didn't have it. And I bought panty liners because I'm thinking, you know, if there's any excess, you know, we'll go on my panty liner, just switch it out. I did have some pads still that I kept because of other months that I've been heavy. And I usually don't sleep with a tampon on overnight. I put an overnight pad because I just have this weird thing that I don't want to die from toxic shock syndrome in my sleep. So I don't wear a tampon to bed. And so anyways, so I was bleeding. Then the third week, and it was getting really bad. So I realized, hey, I can refill my prescription from my progesterone because I have 2 more prescriptions. Like she gave me 3 refills. So this would be my second refill since last year. So I did that, and they didn't have it available till like Monday. I went to go pick it up on Monday, took my pills, and then every day it was bleeding even more. I mean, it was horrible. And I was still working. I was working this whole time. So by Friday, it's the Friday, which was the 23rd of December, and it was a few days before Christmas. It was super busy. You know, I was at work, and it was almost time for me to leave. So I went to the restroom because I started feeling, you know, like when you're talking, any woman would understand what I'm saying when I'm telling you this. When you're talking, so like I was saying, any woman going through like your period or whatever, sometimes you could be talking to somebody or you could be doing a task and you just start feeling the stuff just coming out. You have to run for the bathroom. So usually that's that stare that that a woman usually has on her face sometimes, and she has to go to the bathroom right away. That's what it is. But so I ran to the bathroom after I felt that. It was like bubbling, so I'm like, oh my god, it's probably a clot, you know. Go to the bathroom, and it was, my stomach was really hurting and it just came out. So I wiped myself, cleaned myself, and you know what, I wear or I carry a toiletry bag with me right now. So I use this because I started off with my Super Plus tampon. Can you see it? Super Plus tampon. And this is my candy. I just went downstairs when I got my toiletry bag. I was like, I'm gonna eat candy while I'm talking to you guys. So and I wear this. It's like, it says it absorbs 10 times. I'm just gonna open it really quick. As much. See? 10 times is on there. Let me see it. 10 times as much. And it smells really good. The only thing is, it smells like pads. So, so sometimes you're getting up and you just smell like feminine products. So it's like, that's kind of gross. Because I think men could smell that. You know, if there's men around, their senses are, I think, stronger than ours, like they're smelling. So, but anyways, so apparently it absorbs. So there's a lot of these cuts inside. You see that? So it drains into there and then into the foam, or it looks like foam to me, of the pad. But I wear those and that, and then I also have my Always wipes, and you just pull it out and you clean yourself, which is nice, so you're not touching crap and be unsanitary, because you know it's sanitary napkins. So yeah, so I went, cleaned myself up, and went to go do something in the office, sat down for 20 minutes, and when I got up, I felt like just gushing. So I'm like, oh crap. But it was time for me to actually go home also, so it wasn't too bad. I just told the other manager I'm leaving. So I ran to the restroom, and you know, I put the tampon and that's an overnight pad. I put it on, and it was 20 minutes, and it went through the pad, through the tampon, and it was on my underwear. I mean, it wasn't even like it spilled over. It just went right through it, you know. And so yeah, it was gross. And then so I cleaned myself up, you know, went, put a new pad. As gross as it was, I had to put a new pad and touch myself, and I went in, you know, I washed my hands, whatever. And then so I called my insurance or my medical company right after to try and get an appointment with like an OBGYN, because it was only 2 in the afternoon on Friday when I left. So I was like, okay, if I can get an appointment at least today, I can find out what's wrong with me, because by now I've taken my hormones starting on Monday when I put in my new prescription, and now it was Friday. It was 5 days later, and they couldn't get an appointment for me. They tried every day. They tried Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, and she was like, there's nothing available. So I told her, okay, I'll just go to urgent care. And that's like my insurance's hospital, you know. So for anybody watching this, because this could be anywhere in the world. But I went, came home first, took a shower, cleaned myself up, and then went to the doctor. I got there and I was like the next person in line. There was nobody there. And I think it was like everybody was at the shopping centers, you know, doing their Christmas shopping and stuff. And so they took me next. I went in less than 10 minutes, went in. They, you know, they weigh you and then they check your blood pressure. My blood pressure was super high. It was like 170 over 111, something like that. So she's like, she kept taking it and kept staying high. So she's like, I don't understand why they haven't put you on blood pressure medication yet, because every time you come in, it's high. So then she's like, the whole time she's typing my information in, and then she's like, okay, doctor's requesting a pregnancy test. I'm like, my tubes are tight. And she's like, I know, but that's what she's requesting, just to make sure that you're not pregnant, because it could be a tubal pregnancy or anything like that. So we want to make sure you're not pregnant. So you're going to do a pregnancy test. So just go pee in the cup and then give me the sample. I just need a little bit. And so I get up and whoosh. I told her, oh my God, I can feel it coming out. She's like, okay, the restroom's right around the corner. Just pee. I'm like, but I'm bleeding. And she's like, just pee in the cup. She was really funny. So she's like, just pee in the cup and give me the sample. So I go into the bathroom, but you know, your whole mind is on, oh my God, I'm bleeding. And so you're trying to get to the bathroom and you're trying to not pull your pants down and the blood squishing on your clothes or on anywhere else. So I got my pants down, sat down, peed and pulled the tampon out. And I was like, oh crap, I didn't give enough pee to put in the cup. I didn't do the cup. So I sat there probably like 6-7 minutes and I was like, I'm not gonna pee. So I got up, cleaned myself up, you know, went outside. I told her, I didn't pee. I accidentally kept peeing because the tampon was coming out. So she's like, oh my goodness. Okay, well, you're gonna have to let me know, you know, when you have to pee again. And she's like, but now doctor has requested that you go downstairs and get blood tests done. And I was like, for what? She's like, okay, she's checking your kidneys. She's checking your blood count, your thyroid, and a crap load like red blood, white blood, other stuff, you know, just my filtering of my kidneys. And so, and I felt actually really good because I was like, that's good that she's checking all this stuff. And so I went downstairs, still with my empty cup, went downstairs, and I was the first person in line again because everybody was shopping. So the person took my blood and I went downstairs. They say it takes about an hour for most of my blood work to come back. Like the thyroid one only came back yesterday and it was normal, which I was glad for. I checked online in my account. But so I went and waited, and then she said, whenever you feel like you have to pee, then just knock on the door, because I'm in the waiting room. So I knocked on the door, I got this much pee out, that much. So she was happy with it. It was like blood in it and it was gross. So I changed my, you know, tampon again, because now it's been an hour and I'm changed my tampon again. And then she takes me into the room and she's like, okay, doctor's requesting, she's going to do a exam. So undress from the waist down. I'm like, I'm bleeding. And she's like, I know, we're used to it. She's just going to check that there's nothing wrong. I was like, oh my God. Thank God it's a she, because I didn't shave. They're like laughing at me. So I took the tampon out and just threw it like in the trash before anybody came in. And I kept the pad on, and then the doctor came in and she's like, no, you're going to have to take that off too. So she leaves the room and I take the pad off really fast, threw it in that trash and set on this. You know how when you go to a hospital, or if they know somebody's going to leak, they'll put like, it's like this pad. It has blue, like plastic looking like stuff on the bottom, and it's a square like gauze looking white fabric that's on the top that you can sit on. So that's what I sat on. And so she came in and then she pulls the stirrups out. I know it's gross, but you don't have to listen to me. So she pulled the stirrups out and spread my legs, you know, and then spread your legs. You know? And then she has this, you know, like the forceps thing. It's like made out of metal usually, and they put it in. Well, it feels like metal. Even if it's maybe plastic, it feels like metal. So she put it in, and it had a freaking light. A light inside, like say this is the forceps and the light is like here, so it shines like that when it goes into your vagina. So she looked inside, and as I'm laying there, the nurse is there, and the nurse is like looking at my vagina too. And I was like, I'm so embarrassed. And they're like, we see this all the time. We see worse than this, so you shouldn't be worried about anything. So I'm like, okay. And then the doctor's like, okay, you have some clotting in there, but you look fine. There's nothing that stands out to me. Just waiting back on your but your test looks fine. It just looks like you have anemia, probably from losing all the blood. And so I'm going to put you on some iron, continue taking your progesterone. And then she explained to me, which a lot of doctors probably don't, because the doctor that originally put me on the progesterone, she didn't explain to me what it actually does. And I like that this one did. So what she said is, like, if you're going through menopause, your body is losing estrogen. So when your body loses estrogen, you're not making enough to get like a period. So this buildup of blood, like jello-y blood, gets built up in your womb. And when you take the progesterone, it's almost like grass is growing. You know, there's grass in your womb, and it's growing, growing, growing. And then you take up this progesterone, and the progesterone is like cutting the grass, sloughing off. That's what you use. And she's like, I'm sorry that it sounds so gross, but it sloughs off all that excess. And that's what keeps your womb healthy, because if you did not go on the progesterone or the hormone, and this just keeps building up and building up, that lining in your womb becomes hard, and that's what causes cancer, which I'm glad she explained it that way to me. So that's what was happening, the clots and the pieces that was coming out that I felt. And so she leaves the room, and I'm still sitting on the square because, you know, I'm going to go get dressed. I stand up like this, and I just feel it like just flushing through me. And any woman that's had the chunks coming out of you, it's like you can feel the pieces coming out of your vagina, passing the walls of your vagina. So I felt it, and I grabbed the plastic part to cover like my vagina part to hold it, because my purse was on the ground. So now, you know, when you are going through this and you bend down anytime, it feels like it's coming out even more. But I grabbed my purse, and luckily I didn't zip up my my toiletry bag. And this is my toiletry bag that I use. So it was open like this, and it was just like this in my purse. So I just opened and just started pulling like the wipes out and started shoving it in there. So so I used that, cleaned myself up, because they have those the trash cans that they throw like bodily fluids, like the biohazard whatever trash. So I threw the stuff in there, cleaned myself up, put a tampon in, put my 10 times absorbency pad in, and you know, went downstairs, got my pills, came home. So I was on iron. She put me on iron for the anemia, and I was still on my my progesterone, the hormone. But then she also put me on a 3-day antibiotic, and that's because she thinks that I have an infection somewhere in my body, and she thinks it's because of the bleeding. I probably got a urinary tract infection, which I didn't feel any burning or anything like that, but she said it could just be a urinary tract infection that you can't feel, like not like the kind that I used to get years ago. And so I did that. So she wanted to actually put me off work on Friday when I went. She wanted to put me off work, and I said, I can't. I'm the only manager closing on Saturday on Christmas Eve. I can't be off. And she's like, your boss should be happy. He has you as a worker. And so she said, because you need to be sitting up. You can't be standing the whole time, because that's what makes it even more, the walking and all that. So then I got my stuff, you know, went to work the next day. I was on my medication, told my boss. I didn't tell him like the whole, I just told him, you know, because he knows I'm going through menopause. I've worked with my boss like 13 years. So I explained to him I'm going through menopause. Shit. And it's embarrassing when you have to freaking tell your boss, who is a man, that you're bleeding. But I mean, he has a mom and he has a daughter, so get used to it. So anyway, so I went to work, and by the time I left work, I just felt like more coming. But I mean, I got home, I cleaned myself up, enjoyed my Christmas Eve, and then Christmas morning, we got up to open presents, did that. And now, usually when I get up, I don't wear a tampon to bed because I don't want to get freaking toxic shock syndrome in my sleep and freaking die. That's like my biggest fear, is dying young. It's like crazy. But anyway, so cleaned myself up, came downstairs, we opened presents, and probably 20 minutes after we opened presents, we were all sitting on the couch and I sneezed. And I just felt like, oh crap, something just came out. So I jump up, I throw the blanket off, and I start walking, and I'm like shuffling, like my feet are like shuffling, and I'm like holding I had to put my hand there, to hold, because I didn't want it coming out. But it was almost like, when you have what can I say, a bowl of water in the sink, and the water keeps dripping, and then all of a sudden it just overflowed. That's how it felt. I was the bowl holding it, but it just went past my hands, and I still have to go up the stairs, so I'm trying to walk up the stairs, and it starts coming down my legs. I'm like, oh my God, I can feel it. I felt so embarrassed because my youngest son is 17, and he was sitting downstairs with my husband, and they were in the living room with me. And I'm like and I know he feels so bad because I've explained to him I'm a very open person, what happens to a woman and what's going on with me. So then I ran up the stairs, and the whole time I'm thinking, oh my God, I just don't want to bleed on the carpet because I have carpet going up the stairs. And I get to my room, and we have those little rugs. So I stood on that because like some houses in the United States, it's the stupidest thing, but when you buy a house from a builder, it doesn't have necessarily tile in the sink area. It has like linoleum or tile in the area where the toilet is, but that has like a door on it. But the area where the bathtub and the two sinks are, with the big, with the big mirror, that has carpet. And you can always install like your own tile or whatever. We just never done it. So I dripped over there. So I turn on the shower. I still have my hand. I'm pulling down my pants, throw it, because there's my tub and the shower is right next to the tub. So I take my pants off and wipe myself with my pants. This sounds so gross. And then I threw my pants in the tub, and I get in the shower, and like when you watch a movie and somebody had just killed somebody else or murdered somebody else, and they have blood on them, and they shower or wash, and it's like that streak of blood with the water. That's how it looked when I looked down. And as soon as my head goes down to look, I look, and the blood is just going into the drain. This huge, fist size, a freaking baby, fist size, freaking baby fell out of me. But it was like jello. So it falls directly into the grate part of the drain inside. And half of it, boom, goes inside the freaking drain. So what I did was I just took the shower head and sprayed, and it just kept disintegrating. It just kept breaking apart and falling into the drain. I'm like, what was I going to do? Pick it up and go get out the shower and bleed more? So I was like, oh my God. So I did that. I washed it down the drain, washed myself up, and got out. And the worst part is, like, when you get out, I'm still bleeding. So I had to use my washcloth and hold it there, get to the toilet, and then put my tampon, wash myself again, and then put my tampon, new underwear, pad, and then I had to clean the tub because it was so much blood. When I threw it, there was like splatter of blood all over the walls, like the tub, whatever. So I used like the Clorox bleach stuff to wash it off. And it is the grossest thing. And I understand. Don't send me messages about it's a natural thing. All women go through, not all women go through that. Some women bleed more than others. So I'm just telling my story, okay? So don't give me crap about it. But yeah, so that happened. And this morning I was sleeping and I was fine the rest of the day. And then, I was bleeding, but I was changing it more often, so I wasn't like bleeding out. This morning, probably around 3 o'clock, my stomach, it was like aching, like right by your womb side. And women will know what I'm talking about. Like when you have cramps for your period. So I get up, I go to the bathroom, and I just feel it come out. Because, like I told you, I don't wear a tampon overnight. So it just plopped into the toilet. 4 o'clock, 5 a.m. I was like, by 8, I think it was 7:30, I text my boss and I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm not coming in today. I can't, I'm bleeding so much. I was like, I'm too embarrassed to tell you how gross it has been for me. And I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I'm just wanting to know if there's anybody else out there who has gone through it, and what do you use, and what is your remedies? How do you deal with stuff? You know, how do you, if you're like somebody, like I always imagine, like if you are in the military, you're out in the field, like in the middle of nowhere in the desert, and you start freaking bleeding like that, what do you do? Like, how do you either stop it? How do you take care of the bleeding? How do you clean yourself up? Like, what kind of work do you guys do? Can you go clean yourself up? Or I always wear black, so thank God Friday when I was bleeding through my underwear and through my my stuff, I was wearing black. The only thing that I always worry about is odor, you know, like the smell. But like I told you, the pad that I'm wearing, it smells like a, not perfume, but it kind of has like a perfumey smell, but it smells like period. Not period as in the blood, but you know, when women wear pads, it smells like pads. So what do you guys do, and how do you like take care of like that kind of stuff? Like, how do you clean it up? How do you contain it? Or I've heard a lot of people wear like the cup, that, you know, but my question is always about the cup. You have to put your finger in there, so your finger is full of blood. And what if you overflow? What if the cup overflows? Then you have nothing. Do you wear a pad on your underwear? Do you wear a panty liner? So let's talk about it. Give me feedback, and maybe even tell your stories. You can tag me, tell me your stories.